Very good evening again. This is Vance, Kopi with Vance. As usual, before we start our show, there's my coffee and cheers to everyone. Usually we don't say cheers for coffee, but it's okay. Cheers for New Year and a better year for all of us, 2021. All right, so let's start the ball rolling. So thanks again. I've been thanking our viewers and those who are following me quite closely. Thanks again for an interesting topic. Before this topic started, we do have a discussion with some of our viewers as well. So they were quite keen. So I know people will be start coming in, and probably you might have a question. So today's topic, let's jump into the topic straight away. So today's topic is: do we really need a New Year resolution for 2021? Right? Some might say yes, some might say no. Some strongly believe on New Year resolution. Some say, you know what, every day is a New Year resolution for us. Every day is a new year or new day for us. So it really depends. It really depends on individual. It really depends on individual mindset. So today we have an expert and a very good brother of mine as well. During these 9 months of pandemic, during the circuit breaker, we talked a lot. We met virtually, and he have his own online talk session as well, which we will talk about it a little bit more of introduction. And this particular person that I'm referring to, he has a very strong mindset, and that always make me very interested, right? He has no excuses, he has no bullshits, he just straight to the point, you can see his actions more than his verbal. So let's not waste any more time, and I'm going to invite my buddy here out on the screen.
Hi, Vanan. Great to see you, and a big hello to all our viewers. Happy New Year.
It's very good to have you here, brother.
Oh, same here. Likewise, especially start of the year to be up on Kopi with Vance. It's quite exciting, when you called me up and say let's meet up. It's something that I am really very excited, and right, it's something that I always look forward to have a conversation with you. And I love your new cup.
I know this conversation started from our decathlon, if you can remember.
Yes.
When Singapore was going into circuit breaker, just about a matter of hours.
Yes, I still remember.
Doing shopping, like buying clothes and kind of stuff. But that was a good experience. I mean, it taught everyone a great lesson, a great journey. Don't you agree that?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it was a time where there was a lot of uncertainty, and we had met many times through social media platform, and after so long planning to catch up, and we managed to meet up on the eve of the circuit breaker. I think it was a good meetup. I think everything happens for a reason, right? So I'd like to also once again thank Vanan, one of the key people who inspired me to start my own live chat, and we have been having phone calls in the night, discuss about all the new things that we've been learning. So it was definitely good things happen, even though a lot of us feel that a lockdown or circuit breaker is something that is hard to go past, but I think a lot of good things happen, and I'm very glad.
In fact, bro, before we even jump into the topic, I think you made a very valid point that caught my attention. That everybody has somehow rather learn something, right? Some say that it's a blessing, some say it's a lesson learned. But if you ask an individual, which I've spoken to many, I'm sure you have spoken as well, probably they say it's a blessing. But of course, it has shown us a very tremendous period of time where it squeezed, in fact, every one of us. But in that negativity situation, if you can be positive, I think you have won the battle. But it's different in different cases, right? Some can be extremely severe, tough, and some are pretty easy. So I think is one good thing that even our local government or even a lot of support groups, I think they are doing whatever they can for reaching out and out. So I think we have to give a very great appreciation to these people who put extra effort in this humankind.
Definitely. I think even on my personal note, when I observed during this period, we realized that even a lot of new things started happening. A lot of people started getting out of their comfort zone. Like for example, to have Zoom chats has never been so common as what we see today, right? So a lot of good things happen, and as I said, people started being comfortable, being uncomfortable. I think that's the great thing. and I have not seen that for a long time. And after the circuit breaker, I started realizing that it became a norm, right? People were talking about new norm. People know that it's either I start doing things differently, or I'm going to be left behind, or I'm going to be just missing out a lot of other things. So I think that actually caused a lot of people, or encourage a lot of people to be more creative, to try new things. So it's definitely a blessing.
Right, bro. So, I mean, there was a great, maybe yes. I think we can talk for hours. I do believe we can talk for hours. So we have to be a bit disciplined. Come back
Yes,
to our
yes.
topic. Uh, the one thing that caught my attention, like I was just telling before we even bring you up over to live, that there's something that caught my attention during the circuit breaker or even before circuit breaker because of the posts, right? In social media. I think it's very important that it's about you, right? I mean, of course, there is can be negative, there can be positive, but I think it's about you. When you start sharing, I saw some discipline in that. I saw some routine. I saw some consistency. Most importantly, is determination, and probably it's not just some kind of mask that we wear on a daily basis and say, "Oh, I'm trying to act." You can't, right? Because you have to be consistent to do that, and in order to create that consistent, you need to have a habit. Habit starts from practice. So there's so much of things that we can talk on. So that actually what caught me, and then of course your background, right? You were an ex-army officer and also a ranger. So today's topic is quite relatively into that segment of do we really need a new resolution? I'm going to give the topic to you. It's all yours for the next 10 minutes. And then we will come back again. Probably if we have another speaker of those viewers right now, if you do want to jump in and talk to us, all right? Or maybe you have a different view what this new resolution about. All right. We are more than happy to bring you up and share this topic with you. All right. So, bro, it's all yours.
Now, first of all, I think it's very sad, right? If you start a year without having any direction. I mean, whether we talk about when we travel, whether we talk, we make plans when we travel. We have a specific destination we want to go and visit. When we wake up in the morning, can you imagine waking up in the morning not knowing what am I going to do today? So, it'll be interesting. It'll be nice for maybe first few days. But after that, then what happens? You will have no aim. You have nowhere to go. So I think definitely it's important to have direction. I'll start with direction first because um, I think personally I have actually a mixed thoughts in terms of resolution. Now, first of all, what is resolution? Resolution is actually making a decision to either do or not do something that I've been previously doing or have not never done before. So some of the common ones that I've seen and I myself have done and failed along the years is like losing weight or stop doing a particular habit that I have picked up. Now I will never say bad or good habit because there's no such thing as bad and good habit. Habits are just habit. It's whether it's desired or undesired. So for example, let's take an example: smoking. I've seen a lot of people say I want to stop smoking at the start of the year. Then that's it. I'm going to stop smoking and that's it. So they have a resolution done. But the question is, you talk about what you want to do, but normally they don't talk about why they want to do it. And or when you talk about losing weight or getting fit, there's so many other things, right? So a lot of time, it's very exciting at the start of the year. I don't know, Anand, you being the expert in the physical industry, I've always noticed that the sign-up rates for any gym is always the highest at the start of the year. That's what I noticed.
I just want to pass, maybe share my view on this. I mean, based on experiences, that so many New Year resolution comes by. In fact, I was speaking to a very good a lecturer of mine. His name is called Edgar Tam. He's a psychologist. He said, yes, we must have a New Year resolution, which I totally agree. But there's another side of a group, probably you will agree with me, that, when it comes to December 31st, people said like 15 to 20 New Year resolution, they take like half a day and sit down and they plan, I need to do this, need to do it, which is good. But I think you are making psychologically feel great. But in terms of the first 2 weeks of January, the steam somehow or other died down. I mean, there can be a couple of reasons, right? There can be a lot of things that we can talk about. As we talk, we have viewers now sharing their comments. So we should please keep on coming in. We can talk about that. I think the first 2 weeks of January, or even for the factor as days goes by, the steam slowly dies off. There can be a couple of reasons that we talked about. Maybe it can be financial. You don't have a buddy to to work out with you or to push you. But there's a few group which I know personally. Every year they just do the same New Year resolution, and they never be able to achieve it. So I think that possibility, that is where your expertise is going to come in, bro. Because I think when you were in the ranger course, we know that ranger is not walk in the park, right? It is about ringing the bell and going off, giving up, throw the white towel, and just give up. Because there must be some kind of retraining of your mind to accept that this is you, this is what you want to be, no excuses, no BS, I'm going to get it done. So my question to you is, during your army days, right? Were there times during your ranger course where you feel like giving up, and then another part of you comes and say, you don't give up, right? You're going to push. But the other part say, no, I want to give up. You have this battle of both of you coming out of you and telling you stories.
Okay, I'll be very open and I don't want to always be the guy telling all the war hero stories. There are many times, not only ranger course, even during my officer cadet course, where I've been training and then walking in the middle of the night with all the heavy loads and everything, and then the first thing I ask myself is, Sakti, are you stupid? What are you doing here? You should be at home relaxing or doing some other stuff. So there are a lot of times that I will tell myself, why am I doing this? And there are a lot of times where I hated myself for making a decision to go through this kind of hardship. There's no requirement. There's nothing wrong for me not to be a ranger. I can still carry on doing whatever other appointments I have and everything. But I think the only thing that made me going was actually the why factor. We all hear this, right? It's common sense, right? You must always know your why. But I think this is the key thing, knowing why I wanted to become a ranger. I think that was the only thing that kept me going. When you talk about the other voice, right? We have seen cartoons and many programs where you have the angel and the devil talking to each other. Now, the one that pushes us is actually the why factor. The one that tells you why you need to be a ranger or why you need to do a certain, achieve a certain goal, even though you're going through this hardship. So this is the why. So a lot of times I feel that people rush to make a goal because they want it, right? They get excited about it. They talk about how I want to go about doing it, but they never focus on the why. So once you don't know the why, because you must understand that if your goal is big, it's going to be difficult. Different, you wouldn't even make a goal, right? It will not even excite you, right? So when you have big goals, if you don't know why, so for my case, right, when I went for ranger, now frankly, what happened was that when I started coming into the army, or when I first decided to come in the army, I was a poly student. I think I've told this in a lot of my talks and keynotes. My father used to call me a borderline son because I finished my diploma 4.5 years later, where the course was actually only 3 years. So can you imagine 1.5 years extra? Why? Because I had no direction. It's like, so long as I get my diploma, I'm fine. So that's why they used to say, right, be careful what you ask for. So when I was about to be enlisted, I was still quite relaxed until my father called me and said, Sakti, you are borderline in sports, can never be an ex-Sundram or Fandi. You are borderline, so in education, so I can never expect you to be a lawyer or doctor. So at least I believe you can start defending the borderline of Singapore. That's the least minimum you can do. And that's how it's triggered. And the only thing that made me want to go on and do things is to tell my father, hey, I'm not borderline, I'm better than that. So I think that was something that was very, very close to me. And my why factor became strong. I worked on that. So I think it's more to the why factor. So going back to your question, Vanan, yes, there are many times, even like when you were saying that going for my runs, I came back at about, I messaged you at about 8 o'clock. About 7:45, I came to the car park and I told myself I should just have my dinner and get prepared for this talk. But I told myself, no, I just go for that run, 45 minutes. Do I enjoy it? No, I don't enjoy doing this. Do I enjoy running every day and exercising? No, I don't. But I just do it because I have to do it, because of my why. And my why is age gracefully. Just do your part today so that when the time comes, I feel that, hey, I've done the due diligence every day. So I think it's about breaking it, day by day, and be very clear of your why. So I think that was what made me go past ranger course. Why would I want to be a ranger? Why not? There are only less than 500 rangers dead or alive in Singapore. So why wouldn't I be one of them? I think that excited me. So every time I felt and I scolded myself to say, Sakti, stop doing this, or why are you doing this, or just ring the bell. There are trainers who will be on the vehicle telling you, just ring the bell, give up. And I'm telling you, I'm like this close, telling myself, just give up, ring the bell. But The only reason why it went off is I want to be the one of that 500. It will make me excited.
No, I think like what you mentioned here, I think that the why is bigger than your excuses, or the why is bigger than any kind of pain that one might go through. Because at that point of time, only you know what you went through, right? Because you will be going through tremendous stress. They kill your ego, they kill your strength, they kill your stamina, your wastage. You are literally dead meat, and then it's a breaking point of a life. But the only question that I have is, do we really need to wait till end of the year to have a new year resolution, or another 10 or 15? Well, I mean, this is what I practice. I mean, I'm sure viewers have different views on your new year resolutions and the way you practice. I mean, that's perfectly fine. But these are options that we are talking about, right? If you know that the first 2 months of that new year resolution didn't work, you could make the change immediately, right? You can't be saying that, oh, I'm going to wait until end of the. So somehow or other, it's a psychological thing that it makes you happy, because we are all hormones and chemical induced human beings, right? So oh, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to lose weight, oh, I'm going to get that car, oh, I'm going to buy the house, I'm going to be successful. These are all maybe bigger goals. How about making smaller goals, able to achieve it? Accomplishment gives you a great satisfaction and happiness that will make you go even further. So you're actually more on goal oriented, goal crushed. So when you crush a goal, you tend to get that whole energetic, right? Oh, I need to do this. I'm so excited to go for the run. Oh, I'm so excited to do this thing. It always gets you very hyped up because of our hormones. I mean, there are a couple of hormones that I would just want to share very briefly: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. So we have different ways to activate these hormones. Like when you exercise, dopamine and endorphins. When you hug, when you say I love you, when you shake your hand, when you meet your friends, serotonin, oxytocin. Comfort food, massage. So when we have all these hormones, it gives us a very great pleasure. But during your course, you don't have any of that. So the chances of giving up is extremely high, and that why of yours is where has brought you to where you are right now, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and so on and so forth. But do you think that's why I'm coming back to the same question? Do you think that, do we really need the new Year resolution? Yes or no? We're talking about both.
We need to make resolutions, but you don't have to be strict about the fact that I only do New Year resolutions. Right? Why do I say resolutions? Resolutions is about making a commitment to doing something. So it is important. But I do agree, Vanan. I mean, you decide to do something like, for example, getting fit or having a healthy lifestyle in June, and then you don't wait until December to say, okay, that's it. Next year I'm going to do it. I mean, that's, I think, not the right way. So I think resolution is important, but resolution is still, you're still looking at the smaller picture. One specific action that you want to do. But I think what I will advocate is, rather than just thinking about having a newer resolution, look at the bigger picture. What do you want to achieve? And write it down. And then from there, you break up into smaller goals. Now that will excite you, because each time, let's imagine you are climbing a mountain, right? I mean, you talk about those mountaineers, whenever they climb up, let's talk about, we have seen a lot of documentaries about those climbing up Mount Everest. Now you realize that they got a lot of base camps on the way up, right? They don't straight away go up there. And each time they reach the base camp, they will have a bit of rest, and they will, enjoy the view, feel good about what they have achieved so far. And then, say that, yes, we have come so far, let's move on to the next one. Take a breather and move on. I think that's how goals should be. So that is where people, tend to forget about enjoying that small little success that they have seen along the way. They rush to straight away see that, hey, I'm not seeing any results as what I expected, especially big goals, right? So, let's talk about Ranger course itself. You were saying, right? You don't see, the thing about Ranger course is just to have, because we have shortage of food. We go into the jungle, we don't sleep in a bed. So to come back to camp and sleep in a bed that has been just a simple bed, not a king coil mattress those days, I'm sure the wooden plank. To sleep in that bed was heaven. To use a toilet rather than going out in the field to do your business where there's vegetation with mosquitoes flying around, so you have really, that's how bad. The moment you know that you got to do it fast, because you will be attacked by all the mosquitoes. So can you imagine being there and then coming to a normal toilet, not even at home. I'm talking about a toilet in the camp. So you realize that your expectations, and you start enjoying the small little things.
Yes, I agree.
You never, like when I came back home after the course, what made me feel good was about sleeping in my own bed. My mom's food, of course, mom's food is always good, right? But it was like really heavenly, it's like really, that's it, this is the best food I've ever tasted for the longest of time. So you start realizing that. I think one word I will say is having this gratitude that
Agree.
I'm happy for what I have.
Agree.
Each level I go, I'm still healthy. I can go on to the next level I've achieved so far. I've made mistakes, fine. If I've not achieved it, fine, but let me go. Be gratitude what I have. I think these are things that.
Bro, at this point of your speech, can I say something? Growth only happens in the uncomfort zone.
Yeah, definitely.
When you are put under a tremendous failure, or when you're put under a tremendous challenge, either can be financial, relationship, or whatever it can be. You can be the worst, you can expect the least expect, but all the things are with you. But if you can be positive in a negative situation, which is easy to say, but it's going to be tough, I think you have won the battle almost 70%. Because what we do often, that 90% of the time we put issues on the problems and 10% on the solution. So our solution, achieving it is lesser because the percentage already shows us 90% of the problem, 10% of the solution. We never be able to go there. But from what we gather the information today from you is that because you've been put into the tremendous stress, right? And then when you come back to the comfort zone, you tend to appreciate it, every little things. So that actually retrain your mind to be stronger, fitter. Because right now, Sakti, you will agree with me. I think mental strength is so much important at this point of time, comparison to physical strength. Can we say that?
Definitely, because if you talk about human beings, right, our biggest strength is our mind. We don't have claws, we don't have fangs at all. So it's our mind, and whether you believe it or not, we have seen a lot of real life examples of people achieving. Right, it's when the mind say go, the body will follow, and that's how powerful our mind is. It's whether we all have it, we all have the capability to do that. It's just whether we want to push ourselves. Now, going back to the point, Banan, where you talk about being comfortable or being into the putting ourselves in uncomfortable position is where growth happens, right? Now, let's talk about Ranger course and then some experience that I followed, right? Now, I think putting yourself in an uncomfortable position is just the first step, which means you decided that I want to do something that I've never done before. So that is the first step. But I think the key to success is being comfortable in an uncomfortable position, learning to be comfortable. It's where you anticipate that it's not going to be comfortable. That means mentally you tell yourself, I'm not going to be comfortable. This is not going to be easy. I'm going to have challenges. I'm going to fail. Fine. But I will still move on. Now you are getting comfortable in a very uncomfortable position. Now, when you reach that level, right, you realize the adversities and all these things will become part and parcel of your journey. That is where people talk about resilience. We talk about persistence. It will come in because you are already mentally prepared that it's not going to be an easy journey. And that's why it's thrilling, right? It is not easy. If everybody can achieve it, then why would I want to do that? Nothing. I'm just another guy doing it. So I think the second level will always be striving to be comfortable in a very uncomfortable way. The moment you achieve that, you realize that you will be able to move on because your mind is strong enough to tell yourself, go. I know you're uncomfortable. I understand. I feel bad for you. Let's go. And that's what happens. You will never listen to the inner voice telling you, Sakti, you are tired. For example, I talk to my daughters, my two girls, during circuit breaker. The older girl is 15, younger girl is 9. We ran up to 7.9 kilometers with them in decent timing. I will say decent timing. And for girls, especially my younger girl who's 9 years old, to run at that kind of distance is usually unthinkable, right? But we ran. And each time when I was running, the only thing I kept telling them is that you are tired, your calf is pain, everything is good, but keep going. Unless, you feel that you really, really are not able to do it, you got to stop. I'll respect that. But I think you can still go on, keep going. So I think it's how we communicate with our mind. So I think this is being comfortable. That's how Ranger helped me. And for example, when I was in the army for 12 years, very comfortable, very stable, happy. My elder girl was born. So I think on a normal mode, I wouldn't want to leave a stable job. But I felt that I was getting a bit bored. Maybe it's the way Rangers. Yeah, too much comfortable. I was too comfortable, and a lot of people told me, I think going to Ranger course, somehow or other your screw went off or something. But the reality was I was too comfortable, and I was bored, and I was aspiring to have more challenges, to do something, bring myself to the next level. So I went out and I went into entrepreneurship, and there was no certainty. There was no guarantees that I'll be successful, and it will take some time for me to even get back to the same income level from where I left to where I was going. But I think that's the thing about it. Is breaking it down, telling myself, or my mind was already telling me it's going to be a tough journey, and from there you start moving. So yes, definitely mindset plays a big part. It's not about just being positive. It's about telling yourself that it is going to be tough and be realistic to yourself.
Bro, it's also the experiences that what builds up the character and attitude. But relate to that, we have a couple of comments that came in. So let's take it one by one. So Tanya said that we need to make a decisions before making an affirmation or resolutions along with diligence and willpower. But again, she also messaged one more content that resolution can be made when you are ready. A resolution made on a New Year calendar is a normal but not necessary. Before we come and answer that, bro, let me just take another a question as well. This Devishri say, without being too technical, I would say in psychology. So probably she also agreed that the mind is the main focus, right? We identify the why as intrinsic motivation. At the end of it all bottoms down to intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, as well as any goal resolution fails is just how we human work. So just to add on just here before I get your comments, Sapi, is that probably when we set goals or when we set a New Year resolution, I think you have to make it very realistically. I think it's very important. But then you instead of making a very bigger one, you make a smaller ones to able to accomplish it and crush it before you making another big one. Sometimes most of the time that I got a so-called a call or message before the year starts. Said, "Oh, I want to become a bodybuilder." Then I said, "Okay, but you've never been exercising before, and you want to be a bodybuilder? Why don't you first start exercising first? Maybe you start doing cardio, strengthen up your joints, strengthen up your muscle before you add that bigger goal. I mean, which is good to have a biggest goal, but if you don't even have the basics." Probably you will get disappointed along the way when you're not able to do it because you're not able to accept the rejections, the obstacles and the challenges. Probably you will just be drained with that. I'm going to get your comments, but before that, I'm going to pull up one guy up. He's also an entrepreneur, a business owner. So probably we will have more in-depth of how he runs his organization. He's also a fitness guy, so probably we have a very good common conversations going on. But once we pull him up, let's do a quick introduction of him. Then I'm going to get your comments on these questions of couple of questions that came in. All right, so let's get the man up. All right, where's the man? All right.
Yeah,
Greetings.
hey,
Hey, Sasi.
hey, good to see you, Sakti and Manan.
Yeah, same here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, bro.
So we have the three musketeers here. So both, I mean, all of you all do not need any introduction, but Sasi, maybe we can just do the shortest introduction possible so that our viewers know.
I run my own business right now, so it's a Muay Thai HIIT training facility called Fight Zone. So we got 3 outlets right now. Yeah, I've known Wanan for the longest time. I've known Sakti for the longest time as well. Yeah, so it's been a different kind of year, I guess. It's been a massive 2020 going into 2021, and yeah, it was interesting listening to y'all before I came on. Right, you guys talking about Wanan was talking about dopamine, serotonin, and Sakti was talking about setting goals throughout the year. Yeah, so now I'm here. You guys get to hear my news as well.
Thank you for the shortest introduction, but of course you can go on and on. I know your credentials are such a great one. Thank you for that. Okay, Sakti, we are going to take the question that Devishri has talked about. Then we will jump into Sasi's the way how he believes it, whether he believes New Year resolution or not, or is it just a psychological way of making yourself happy? We'll come back to Sasi, but now we are going back to Sakti. Oh, Josh, bro, what do you think about that? What Devashri had said?
I do agree. When Devashri talked about intrinsic motivation, right? I think that's the key. It's within you. You don't need external factors to motivate you. Where you know that once you are very clear of your why and why you need to be there to do something, you find that you don't need external motivation. You don't need anyone to tell you should be doing this. You will be up there and you're just doing it. Now, in order to get that, right, one of the key things is, of course, getting the why. Now, whether it's fitness goals or any goals, right, I think it's always about breaking up and seeing progress. I will always use this word progress. It could be slow, it could be fast, doesn't matter. But I think it's about progress that will make you feel motivated to move on to the next stage. For example, there was 25 push-up challenge going on, right, in Facebook. I think it's still going on, I guess. I don't see much nowadays, though. When it's going on, I realized that there's some of them who told me that, when I started, I couldn't even do 10 proper push-ups, 10. And then slowly I saw myself doing 15, and then I started doing 17, 20. For some, it's like, hey, how are you not even able to do 10 push-ups? But I think the fact that they committed to 25 days of push-up and then they push themselves and slowly see progress, right? They feel that, intrinsically, they feel motivated, they want to do it more. So I think that's one thing that I believe is very important. And I think it's a key to why, when you talk about somebody who's like consistently motivated to move on, to do things, even though, they can choose not to. So when you compare a person who's doing it and a person who feels that it's quite tough, right? You really think about it. The biggest difference is actually the why factor. Why would I want to do that? It's not because of that the other person is much more disciplined. Discipline comes because you are clear of your why and you know that you want to do it. You are motivated to do it. So I think that's the key thing. It's a commitment.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Thank you, Sakti, for that. And of course, for the viewers who are watching right now, please share the video, because I think this is one of the greatest topic which people tend to do not a lot of New Year resolution. On the first 2 weeks of January, everything dies off. We will come back to that very interesting sharing of personal experiences as well. But right now, we are going to get Sasi's opinion, right? So I'm going to pose a very tough question to Sasi and see how he answers that, very diplomatically or very rationally. Sasi, New Year resolution needed or not? Yes or no? That's it.
I think it's very needed for the fitness industry. It gives us the peak. In January, we sell a lot of memberships, right?
Okay.
From a fitness industry point of view, memberships are easiest to sell in January. Easiest, because people don't have a lot of objections. They overcome their own objections, right? So if you're a sales guy working in the fitness industry, a lot of times people will tell you they got no time. They have so many things to do. They got no time. They don't have energy. They are very busy at work, But in January, all these objections are covered by themselves because they want to get fit. So it's easier sell, right? But then again, if fitness was easy, or we used to joke in California Fitness Barn, and remember, we wish people came and gave us their credit cards, right? We wish it was a retail store. Here, sign me up, right? But it's not. You got to convince someone to get fit. You got to convince someone to do something for themselves. And in January, if you look at the perspective of the world, we always set goals. We always want to do. But I like January in the sense that everybody sets a common goal, right? Every single person you meet actually wants to get fit, right? But they haven't found it yet. But in January, the consensus is serious. Everybody wants to do it. They want to make a change. I think generally they want to see a different person in the mirror. They want to see someone working hard towards their goals, right? It is not really about losing weight, and I think it's about being happy that you're doing something for yourself, right? And that is why people make goals. So if you ask me whether it's needed or not, maybe we can make resolutions, goals as and when we like, but I think the new year gives people new hope, right? That they can change. And hope is not something you can You can, the queue in front of the Toto store today, right? The 40 store, right? Is everybody's buying a hope, right? They're buying one piece of hope, right? My dad called me and asked me whether I bought Toto or not, but it is that hope that gives you a dream, you see. So when people have that hope, they generally work towards something, be it they're better at things they do, they're better with their kids, they're better with dealing with other people. So I feel generally that New Year resolutions, that start of the year or the start of the birthday just makes us better people, having that goals in our head. If not, we will just be doing the things we want to do every single day. We just be doing monotonous things and not changing our goals. That's what I feel.
Okay, so this is going to be a very complicated, right? I mean, as a ranger says, you need to have a goal, you need to have resolution, you need to have determination. I mean, he came from failure, uncomfort zone to where easy right now. Probably, I don't think so. He will need a new resolution. Do you, bro?
No, I still do my goal settings. I mean, in December, I spent about 2 weeks to sit down and reflect what went well and what went wrong. I mean, it's something that I will do. And why December? Because by virtue of business, like what Sasi said, right? It's end of the calendar year. I need to sit down, talk about my business and everything. And while doing that, I decided, why not? Start looking into my own goals. How far have I come and everything? So I do. But I don't make it a case where I just say I want to stop something or I just want to do. But it's a holistic goal. I really look at the bigger picture. And I think that gets us excited, right? Because psychologically, talking about going to a new year, it's about making a goal for myself, making something exciting for the next year. What can I achieve? So that excites me. So it is important. But I think what's important is proper thought process in terms of what I'm going to do and why I'm going to do. I think that is where I would like to re-emphasize, not just emotional decisions. I want to lose weight, or I want to, like what you said, I want to become a bodybuilder. And I think Sasi actually underplayed his introduction for a lot of viewers. I'll be very upfront. I mean, he's one of the entrepreneurs that I personally got inspired from. Where ups and downs, but you always see this cool face. When I say how's it going, Sasi, it's like no problems, and his voice is always, when I say monotonous, I'm not talking about the boring monotonous, but he's always the cool and steady monotonous guy. He's always so I've looked up to him, and I realized that personally, in terms of his line of business, what he have done, it's important in the fitness industry or any other industry that you need to be clear of certain. I mean, can you imagine waking up every day not knowing what you're going to do for the day? I can't imagine a life like that.
Yeah. Bro, I mean, it's good because probably it's my mistake because I gave Sasi only the shortest introduction, but Sasi has covered that very well. I mean, I totally agree with you because it has to come from within. But I have a different view, but I got to challenge the both of you all. The only thing that I feel that, one will lose a lot of confidence, their determination, they feel lousy because we do see Norul here say that she probably will lose willpower. So is it that because of the goal that is so much bigger that the disappointment, the failure, they're probably not able to adapt to it? Like what Sasi I mentioned earlier, that we are full of hormones and chemicals. So these chemicals are not firing up. These hormones are not firing up. We are going into a little bit of anatomy and a little bit of science here. Probably that makes us give up because statistics shows that 29% of people who set goals, I mean 100%, 29, and 71%. There's huge percentages. Only 29% stays. 71 gives up. What is it so? Do you think that our goal should be lesser, a smaller goal? Or you think we should have bigger goals?
Okay, questions for me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's not. It's very individual specific. Generally, because even now, I spent the past 2 months. I think the one main thing I did at work was I was spending a lot of time with my staff, right? And I realized they go through a lot of emotions, and that fear of whether COVID is going to come, COVID is going to eat their rice bowl, whether they want to max out their paycheck when they can. And when I look at where I'm heading towards as a company, I need those people to not only be production people, but to look towards growth. So I spend a lot of time with them trying to get into their mindset. And I realize that some people you can set bigger goals, right? But when you set too big a goal for some people, you are almost selling a dream, right? And yeah, one of my staff used this line. I mean, you're selling me a dream, right? And then I realized it's a dream that I believe in, So when I say it, I'm not actually trying to sell it, but so when I set too big a goal for some people, it's not efficient. When I set smaller goals for people, for certain people, it becomes efficient. But when I set too small a goal for some people, they achieve their goal and it doesn't become interesting anymore for them. I think, honestly, if you look at Singapore, right, you can get a job that pays you 2 to 3K reasonably, I feel. If someone wants to be a salesman, if someone wants to work really hard doing in a retail store, that figure can be achieved. So technically, recently I tried hiring a salesperson, right? And unfortunately, it's so hard to hire Singaporeans nowadays. Even though we came out of a pandemic, when they hear the word sales, they are afraid of goals and targets, right? So generally, what you're speaking is the fear of failure, right? Doesn't get them started. So I realized with some people, smaller goals are efficient. With some people, you got to sell them a very big dream, and then you got to follow up on timelines, right? If not, it doesn't work. So I think it's very individual specific, and I also realized that when I set a goal to, for example, if I set certain goals this year, I tend to become very obsessed about my goals, right? And like fitness, right? I cannot just be fit. I need to be very, very, very fit. But to be very, very, very fit, it is time. It's time. You got to spend 2.5 hours. 2 hours. If one knows me, I used to finish work and make sure I get a workout and go back home. But goals change, right? If I stick to those goals, I can never do the things I want to do now because the time doesn't add up, right? So yeah, so it's the easiest person to have or easiest person to work with is a person who's self-motivated. But unfortunately, we humans, it's not easy to be self-motivated. It's not easy. It's not a switch that you can turn on. So sometimes, like I said, it depends on the individual, right? When you are a personal trainer like Manan, I'm sure there are certain people that you can set 6 months goal, 9 months goal, but certain people you got to set 2 weeks at a time, So you got to keep them engaged, and they have to be engaged themselves. And a lot of times, whether it's following a fitness routine online or online coaching by a coach, I met before the circuit breaker. I met so many coaches who refuse to do online coaching. They don't believe in it. They say it's not value for money. But at the end of the day, that online coach being there creates a commitment for that person. Oh, I'm going to meet Vanan at this time, and I'm going to see him, and I'm going to do these exercises. I think our lives change after this 2020. It taught us a lot of things can be done online, right? Yeah, like to answer your question, I think it's very individual specific. And if you're going to set goals for yourself, you got to also know what kind of person you are.
Okay. I'm going to ask this question to the viewers because Sasi and Sakti, I mean, both agree that you need a New Year resolution. But maybe we can ask these to our viewers, all right? For those who are just tuning in, thank you for joining us at Kopi with Vance. And today we are with Shakti, who is an entrepreneur and a game changer, and Sasi, is the founder of Fight Zone Singapore. And you got 3 howlers in Singapore right now, Sasi?
Yeah,
Okay, and it's going to grow, right?
I hope so. We are launching our franchise license in a couple of months. Yeah.
Okay. So the viewers, do we really need a New Year resolution, or do you think that we need something like every once a month, right? You know, if you think that things are not working, do you want to change it immediately, or do you think that we need to have a year before we revisit and make decisions? So if you have anything on your mind, please type it out in the comments, and then we can take it out and we can even share. So now let's go back to Sakti. Um, your daily routine, right? Doing runs at middle of the night, doing it even how your busy schedule you have, and you're just crushing it, and doing it in a very consistent way of getting things done. So can I come back to you, Sati, and say that, is it a discipline? I'm sure it's a discipline, but what I'm trying to get an answer from you is it that there's something special about you?
Well, if you ask me if there's something special, not being, I will say yes, definitely. I'm special. I'm one of a kind. I mean, that's how I set my mind, right? But if you compare me to anybody else out there, I'm no different. I'm just like you. I wake up in the morning. I drop my girl in school. I'm in my office at as early as 8 o'clock. In fact, I will start messaging all my guys to ask them where are you, and I do all the stuff as any business owner do. From there, I do my normal stuff. But the only thing that makes a difference is that it's a commitment. I took, for example, my run or my fitness goals are actually part of my daily routine that I got to achieve. I mean, we don't go out of the house without brushing our teeth, right? So it's just like that. It's a daily routine that I feel that I need to do. Now, what I try to do is that, again, I agree to what Sasi said. Different people are different, right? So I have a knee injury. So I know that I can't push myself because I got to save myself from any injuries or aggravating myself from, that specific injuries I have. So I told myself, I manage my time, the intensity of the exercise. So there are days where I suddenly will run 15 kilometers. There are days where I know it's not going to be a run today. It's just going to be something. So I manage it that way. But I think it's about enjoying the process. And as I said, it's about the feel good factor. Sometimes we forget about this, the feeling of once you have a good workout and when you come back, especially when you know that you could have all the reasons to say, no, I couldn't do it, but to still achieve it. Now that gets me to sleep peacefully because I feel it's an awesome day. I managed to do those tasks that I put out for myself. So, it's not that I'm special. I think all of us are capable of doing it. Again, the question is whether, the commitment. I think that a commitment made to myself is a promise made. And if I can't keep a promise to myself, then how am I going to keep a promise to my girls, my family, or anybody else, for the matter of fact? So it's a simple little things in life that makes a difference, right? So I think it starts from our commitment. And I just want to touch on this thing about losing willpower.
Yeah.
Willpower, right? Now, can you imagine somebody who is on the verge of survival, right? They need to survive. They need to do something to survive. Do you think they will lose willpower or they will go all out to make sure they survive? Definitely they'll go all out to survive, right? Now, can you imagine in my own line of business, just like Sasi, right? Sales. I got guys who are mid-career switchers who know that if they don't go back with a paycheck, that's it. And these are the guys who will do everything possible going through the same challenges to make sure they achieve what they want. Now, they can be shortfall, but they will do everything possible within their means and resources available to do it. While the other guy will straight away say, oh, I think I can't do it. So is it about losing willpower or is it about telling yourself you are just going to give up and losing willpower is just a reason? In my case, being very blunt, I feel that it's hard to lose willpower. It's whether you want or don't want. So, setting goals is about do it comfortably, but do it big enough that excites you, and then break it up into smaller ones to enjoy the process. So I just wanted to cover this part.
Thank you. But I got a different view from the both of you. I got to disagree. I mean, for myself, as we agree earlier on that we do have different views, I somehow rather don't believe in New Year resolution. I mean, okay, so like when I say that, it's a disclaimer. It's about me, all right? I'm a creature. But the way I do things, when I decide to do something, it has to be crushed, whatever it can be, whether in certain goals or certain issues. But what I have is this bad habit is it makes me stay awake till I get the thing done. For me, is when I say okay, I want to get so and so, right? I want to get something. So there will be a lot of challenges. There will be a lot of obstacles. So you need a lot of planning for that. For me, for somehow or other, when someone tells me that, hey, you know what, you can't do this. Hey, you know what, it's tough. You know what, that's not possible. So the no and the challenges and the obstacle makes me motivated to stay on my track. So probably I have to agree with you, Mr. Ranger, Sakti bro, that when you are comfortable, you become very monotonous, and then you say, you know what, it's time for change, and that's what that's why that make you change, right? You from the armed forces you left. So do we have to agree here, or do we disagree that sometimes monotonous can be a bit boring, or if you do the same thing and not getting any results, or rather we try to have a bigger goals and not able to achieve it, and then getting failures and then giving up? Is that a possibility? Why Nurul is saying that we lose power or willpower? Sakti, bro.
Uh, no, back to the same thing again that what Sasi highlighted. We're all different. Right? So, some of us may feel that, like for me, if you tell me to do the same thing again and again, I get really bored. And I'll start wondering, I've been the same way. I think Sasi knows me during my schooling days. I can't sit still in a lecture room for too long. I get bored. So that's me. But there are people who feel that, they want to have certain things to be planned. I want to know what's next for me. I don't like uncertainty. So, there are different profiles of people. So it depends. So I do agree with what Sasi said, that different people, different folks, different strokes, right? So different people, maybe they need to, achieving their goals or doing something they want to, maybe their approach may be a bit different. And it's how, so again, it's not about whether being monotonous or being bored or not feeling that the particular goal is not important enough where you lose willpower. I think before we even talk about willpower, I think my only question is how important is that goal that you have to achieve? Will you do everything possible to achieve that goal? If don't, then please check your commitment level, why we want to do this goal. I think that's the first thing. So that's why, again, I disagree that resolutions doesn't have to be done on New Year, but New Year because start of a new year and you want to start.
So at this point, do you think every 3 months to revisit is important, or what is the revisit period? Is it something monthly or quarterly or yearly? Because it looks like the new resolutions keep on coming in, but the list is not reducing. Maybe I may reduce it. So is it something just in front of my desk which I put in and see that okay, I need to do this, but the character, the discipline, we talked about a lot of earlier on. When these qualities doesn't one will have it or has it, then possibility of achieving that is lesser. Sasi, what do you think about that?
No, I think what I do is I set goals that I want to see happen this year, right? And in terms of business right now, there are small little things you need to do in order to achieve different portions of that goal, right? Sometimes you get to finish different portions of it very fast. Sometimes you don't, right? Sometimes the opportunity doesn't present itself. So as much as we want to revisit, I mean, if it's a fitness goal, yes, you know, fitness is a use it or lose it. You don't do it for this period of time, you're going to lose it, right? Otherwise, if it's a life goal, a business goal, or if simple goals of like this, I've set myself a goal. The next 2 years, I want to do certain things for my kids. So I want to teach them certain things. I want to teach them goal setting and probably starting a bit of their own businesses. So with kids, you can't go and tell them, okay, this is the business you're going to start, and this is how you're gonna start it. So it's very, very small little things I got to teach. I got to teach them to. I taught my older one to make a store or online store, right? So the idea of making an online store is not to make money, right? But to teach him the concept of you can actually start a business, right? So those are the small little goals that I set for myself now. In terms of business, I know the ultimate goal is I want to grow my business to a certain size, and I got to do small little things to do that first. I had a question posed to me recently. Why can't we do it now? But we cannot do it when we're not ready. You know, you got to be stable yourself. You got to have stable people, and but the key about every business is also about its people, right? You don't have people actually driving that cost for you. You can't build a wall. You can't turn a ship into a aircraft carrier. You can't, because it's not going to move in the right direction. So so I think for me the best way is to set bigger goals and set small goals in between, and knock off the small goals one by one, right? And at the end of the day, as you knock off the small goals, you are getting towards your big goal, right? That's ultimately how I use it. And with people, even in our clubs, we actually see people who come in. So ours is a fitness club that is very movement based. It's movement based because a lot of people lose their movement abilities as they age, right? They can't do the simple things. And we realize that there's two things that motivate people is when they see themselves change in the mirror. So we have this barcode installed so that when they take a picture and they see that the barcode, the amount they cover in the barcode is getting smaller, and what they see in the mirror, and your own physical ability to do movement stuff, right? Previously, some people cannot squat, cannot reach a certain, cannot do a full range exercise, as they come in and they increase their movement, those small goals are met. And with fitness, we realize that you set people's goals, and once they achieve them, they always automatically set new goals, right? And so multiple goals will be set. So I agree with Sakti about the willpower. Willpower, I mean, if it comes to business, it's so much easier now if you go out and hire a guy that has 2 mouths to feed and a family to feed, whereas you hire a fresh grad, you're like, oh no, I only want to work 5 days a week, right? In our time, we did any job, 6 days a week we worked, right? But now I have new grads that tell me, sorry, 5.5 days, I don't think I can work 5.5 days, right? But if you want to work in a retail store, in a fitness club, and you don't want to work weekends, who are you going to sell the membership to, right? Right? But then again, if I hire someone that has 3 children, he needs to bring home $3,000 or $4,000. He's got his mindset straight. This is what I need to do to bring home, I got, whether it's 10 hours, 8 hours, I got to make that happen. Yeah. So at the end of the day, goals are very easily set. When I was a personal trainer before, I used to say that if I was a doctor, imagine me being a doctor in front of you, telling you got no choice to do this. People automatically do it, right? But unfortunately, I'm just a trainer, right? With this line, I close a lot of deals, right? But it works, I know that's the honest truth. People need to face something, that a wake-up call that says, you need to do something. Unfortunately, New Year resolutions are a lot about businesses, right? I tried to buy a Christmas gift for my staff, so I bought them each a book, right, in the hope that they'll start reading, right? Small goals, right? So how can you can't go to an adult and say, how much have you read today? What did you read today? You can't, right? It's not right. So we try and create the environment that everybody's reading, everybody's doing something, everybody's improving themselves. So everyone feels that they have to improve themselves to keep up, right? That way we generally have generic goals and all. Yeah, that's basically what I feel.
So from the past 1 hour, we have been discussing. I do realize that goals are necessary, but I'm going to get this for Sakti, because Tavania has said that the fear of failing made me uncertain of myself, of the capability of sustaining or rather taking a resolution which I desire. I decided to face all the challenges and take small steps to reach a sustainable goal. And okay, a journey that I feared for 5 years. I decided to take the weight loss till I just got tired of my fears. I wanted a sustainable plan, which was gradual procession, not a magic one. So, Sati, what is your
Yeah.
take? I mean, what is your suggestion, bro? Perhaps the fear of failing deters people from making a goals resolution. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like it's like a disappointment. If I make this goal, if I don't do it, it's a
Yeah.
disappointment for me.
It's always the fear, it's always the fear of failing. I mean, like for business owners, right? I think the first fear that why isn't everyone a business owner is because a lot of us have fears, right? And when you first partake into going into a business or not working in a stable job, because business is entirely up to you. And the same thing with doing something that you're not sure about. Unfortunately, the honest truth is, if you don't try, you don't know. You see. You don't try, you don't know, and you have to know that if you don't adapt and change, you're going to fail, right? If you don't, the thing is, if you didn't try in the first place, you've already failed, right? That is the honest truth. If you didn't put your step in, you have already failed, right? So when you make resolutions, you got to make something. I think the first resolution that you make, you got to tell yourself it's going to be something that you have to achieve, right? So when you achieve it, it's going to be simple enough for you to achieve it. And when you achieve it, you gotta tell yourself how much you can grow from that. I think the fear keeps people from doing a lot of things. The fear of other people saying that, oh, you tried, you fail. It is what it is. You can't stop anyone from saying anything.
That's
But if
totally,
you feel,
totally agree with that.
yeah, you can't stop people. You can't. Yeah, but you got to try. So if you don't try, you actually never know. And if at the same time, if something fails, it fails, right? You can't hide the fact that it failed, right? And I think we need to fail in certain aspects first before we actually succeed. And I also think you shouldn't, if it's to do with weight loss, right? I think the easiest way to overcome your fear of not completing your weight loss is to find something you completely enjoy doing, right? And when you find something you completely enjoy doing and you keep doing it, it doesn't mean you will lose weight, but it means you will get fit, because you can't possibly do something and not get fit. Our body doesn't work like that. Once you get fit, right, there's so many ways you can manipulate into um, toning yourself, losing a bit more weight, watching your diet, but you already got fit already. So that's the easiest way when it comes to weight loss. If you look at it as a weight loss, it is never gonna. There's always fear of of failing. But if you look at it as doing something you enjoy, right, then you're not gonna fail, because you already would have done it and you would have enjoyed it, right? But if you didn't lose weight doing it, then it's time to tweak it. But at the end of the day, if you do something, when we talk about muscles, and if as muscles get bigger, there's no way they can't be stronger. If they get stronger, that means they will recover and they will get toned, right? So that scenario being a perfectionist is a difficult fail. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask our ranger sir here, fear of failing. I mean, of course, there's another part of a topic that we can talk about. People always been talking about us. Either you do good, people talk. You do bad, also people will talk. You never do anything, also people. So we put this gossip aside first, but we are talking about fear of failing. That means to your own self. That means you feel yourself a failure. How do we overcome that, sir? Ranger sir.
Now, the first thing I'll say about failure, right, is fear is actually a false evidence of assumed reality, which means, like what Sasi said, it's something that may not even have happened, or it's not happening, but you assume that what if it happens. You worry more than taking action. right? It could be many reasons, right? So I think the key thing is to first ask yourself, why do you fear? What is it that you're afraid of? If you fail, so what? So the biggest question I ask myself is, so what's the worst can happen? When I went into business, for example, from an income being a civil servant, I was thinking, so what's the worst can happen? I'll become bankrupt. I can't pay my bills, and I can't afford to buy a car. I can, all these things are. So what happens to me? I'm still alive. I still get bounced back. So fine. So the worst case is I'll still be around. It's just I can't pay bills. So once I can accept the fact that can I accept this, I find that there's nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. So I think it's about knowing your baseline, right? If I cannot accept it, then I'll like, oh, okay, right. This is something that I'm not going to do. No, you are going to do a risk management or risk mitigating, right? Okay, if I think I can't accept it, then fine. And I think failures are actually the best teachers. I mean, apart from Yoda, apart from Star Wars, I'm a strong believer that because if for example, Tavania, when you said 5 years you're worried, right? Within these 5 years, if you have failed, it tells you something. Now, for me, right, there's one point of time I put on a lot of weight as a ranger because I had a knee injury, and I realized that exercising alone doesn't allow you to lose weight. It is about the food you eat, eating healthy, and then it's not about just losing weight. It's about maintaining your weight over a longer period of time, which is actually your lifestyle. So these are things that we start learning. So I think failure in a way is a teacher. So don't be afraid of it. I think you should embrace it and learn from it. So it is okay. I'll be more worried of somebody who has no fear.
I think you nailed it, the both of you all, because I think there is very synchronization here because we got so many comments that's coming up. I got to say this, right? I mean, the failure is the one that actually creates a path for success. Like it's some kind of a obsessive, we can call it a OCD, right? Sometimes when you're winning too much, sometimes you can be bored. Some may say, hey, you sound like a cocky, you feel like, you are very arrogant, but no. It is something about yourself because it doesn't challenge you. And then once in a while, it's okay to fall. It's perfectly fine to fall hard, but make sure that you come up stronger. So actually, failure is the one that's like a booster that pushes up. So sometimes when we put this 15 or 20 New Year resolution and then we try to, not able to accept it or, try to miss it, I think it's okay. You need to allow yourself to be a little failure, but then make sure that you jump back stronger. Don't you think so, bro?
I just want to maybe share a personal experience since we talked about Ranger, right? I don't know how many people know this. First of all, my first Ranger selection, I failed. I failed my Ranger selection. And, I was from a unit. I went for the selection. I failed. And when I came back, I think a lot of people who didn't even dare to go for a Ranger course, who didn't even dare to sign up, told me, bro, forget about it. You are not a Ranger material. They just told me this. And some spoke in front of me, some spoke behind me. Right? They told me, you're not Ranger material. Rangers are, a different group of people. You don't belong there. A lot of comments. So when I went back, I felt bad. So what I did, I felt bad. I did, went into the cave telling myself maybe I shouldn't embarrass myself anymore. But I think surprisingly, it just lasted maximum 1 day. And there's only one course per year. So I trained. The next year, I went stronger. I learned where were my mistakes. But of course, I realized that the next year when I went for the course, I became second in course because it was not about getting Ranger anymore. I think the failure made me so strong or so, it challenged me so much. It's not about now becoming a Ranger. It's about challenging myself. How do I perform as a Ranger? So it's perspective. How do you see half empty, half full? So if you're half empty, then you see opportunities rather than just being half empty. So I think it's perspective. So embrace failures. That's what I will always say. But learn from it. Please don't keep enjoying to fail. I think that's another thing that you got to avoid doing.
But I think it's also an attitude and a character which you have it, Sakti. That's why I think it's coming out from your experience. But Sasi, so let's say a guy who puts 15 New Year resolution, right? 15 of them, all right? Big goals, very big goals. You're asking for the moon and stars. So let it be, right? Whatever the goals that you want to do. But out of the 15, 4 are very realistic and able to achieve it. But somehow or other, you get failure and you get disappointed. What is your wise words for you?
I think my wise words, wow. 15 New Year resolutions, wow. I think you got to ultimately, for me, if someone makes 15 resolution, he doesn't really know what he wants, right? Because at the end of the day, in when we were young and we were working for something, we wanted a new car, or we wanted something new, or we wanted a big bank balance, right? And so we set multiple goals. This month, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hit this target. I'm gonna hit that. But I think now, ultimately, we have bigger goals in the sense that um, what you want to achieve in life, and what you want to do for this phase in your life. So I think if he sets 15 and let's say he achieves 4, I think he's got to relook at the rest of the goals. And ultimately, we set goals, we got to be happy achieving them. I mean, you got to be happy. If you're stressed up every day, you're not achieving your goal, you're not going to achieve your goal, right? Sometimes you got to clear your mind, take a step back and think. I mean, I personally think with Sakti's experience, right, the reason he came in second is also because he was not stressed about passing in anymore. Yeah. So he was not stressed about passing his ranger course. He actually outdid himself, and he behaved like he was already a ranger.
Yeah.
So automatically the mindset became, I'm already a ranger, And then he went from failing the course to second in course. I mean, has every time I hear his story, I'm like, that's amazing mindset, isn't it? Yeah. So I think if someone fails his on certain goals that did not achieve, it has to be achievable by you, right? And anything a human being can achieve. I mean, I was reading the David Beckham book, and at 12 years old, his coach told him he'll never play for England, right? David Beckham, right? But he became David Beckham. So David Beckham, the latest FIFA, the FIFA game, the PS4, he got paid $27 million just to be on the cover and be the hidden character. Right? Someone tells you can't make it to your national team, but you get paid this much when you're not playing. So at the end of the day, I think goals have to change. And if you achieve some, you just have to reset the others. I wouldn't say give up on certain things, but look at it again and see and rethink what you're doing to achieve them. As much as we can be a perfection. Some people want to be perfect every time, but that allows very little room for failure and change, right? And the most successful people are able to immediately, very fast, change the direction, regroup, and go again. Yeah, that I've seen from personal experience. I've seen the people who are really successful. They don't think twice. They make decisions, and sometimes when you make decisions, the decision can go either way. It can go bad, it can go good. But if you don't make it, you won't know, right? Yeah, that's ultimately. There's no way you can say that I'm going to make the right decision every single time.
Very interesting. When I speak to the both of you all, it's a very good synchronization because it's a great energy. Because even though we might disagree there and here, but it's going in a very clockwise direction, which I can feel. Because what words that Sakti had shared or even Sasi had shared, I think it's very, very powerful because this is based on personal experience, which I'm telling you. Failure is actually one of my biggest factor for winning, factor for coming up in life. Because if you do not have failures, probably you will not have that uncomfort zone. Because probably you're always in a comfort zone, and suddenly somebody pushes you to the uncomfort zone, you will not be able to climb up. You'll be tremendous. You'll be the depression, or it can be a lot of issues that we are seeing right now, especially during this pandemic. So, which I agree. So sometimes uncomfort zone or become a failure, or people talking about gossip about you, like what Shakti has said. You will never be a ranger. Talking on the left, talking on the right, talking at the back, which I think is necessary because we have to transform that from a negative perspective to a positive perspective. That actually gives you the jet power, the jet fuel, just like the rocket just shoots up to the sky. So I think it's perfectly fine to be a failure. It's perfectly fine to be failure. I mean, I even tell this to my kids. It's fine to be failure, but it's not fine if you're not trying harder. But make sure that you don't repeat the same mistake again. So which I think the conversation is going very strong, very useful. I think probably you all agree that we do need a New Year resolution, but a very realistic and as well as determination, a good character, a good willpower. We shared all and a lot of positive comments coming up, but unfortunately, we can't be talking these until to the next day because I know Sasi will be running a little time because you have something to do at the back end. Which also Sakti bro, you also put a lot of time, even taken out from your. Probably you'll be working right now or having a good sleep for for the next day. Probably whatever we are doing. But we're coming to the end. Before we end, let's get some great voice experiences from the both of you all to our viewers before we end the show. So probably Mr. Ranger sir, you can take it over. Sir.
Let me share an experience that I had many years ago.
Okay.
It's involving Sasi.
Okay.
We studied the same school together, and then we have not seen for many years. And I think poly days, we were not like very close where we kept in touch. Then we came together. We were playing futsal in a futsal court, and then Sasi drove his RX-8.
No, wait. I know. Wait, I got more details to tell about it. Shall
So when I don't know the details.
It's a blue, right?
Ash gray, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a gray RX.
Bro, I remember, No, but why that left an impact because when that happened, it felt good, right? We come after a long time, and I was in the army. I was driving, and I was happy with what I had. But you see, the first thing that inspired me was, wow, we were together, and he's doing so well, and he's driving a car. It's not a car, but it's like, what would have Sasi done to be able to do that? Amount of hard work, the direction, the vision he had. So I think that inspired me. That's why at the start I said that Sasi is somebody who inspired me. So I thought, why didn't I think about bringing myself to the next level? Drive a car. I mean, life is all about experience, right? So I think this triggered me to think about think out of the box, think bigger. Just don't be contented with what you have. It's okay. It's fine to think big, right? There's a big difference between having big goals and aspiring to have big dreams compared to being greedy, right? So I think this is something that inspired me. I'm sharing this in this platform is because it's one of the first few incidents that made me get out of my comfort zone. It's like, I'm in the army, I'm comfortable, but so what's next? Maybe something like that, So I still remember. So I think that's something that stayed with me to the extent where I can even remember the color of the car and so on. So I think going back.
But before you continue, bro, I know more than the car. Sports car. It's a sports car.
Yeah. Sports car. It is. But I mean, going back to the thing, I think it's about aspiring. It's about getting excited, like what Sasi said, right? Once you put a goal, you see a vision of yourself, what you want to be or what you want to achieve. Get excited, enjoy the process. Even if it's a failure, fine, enjoy it and just move on. I think this is what I feel makes life exciting. I think it's all about living life, taking control, taking charge, and enjoy the process. And what's the worst can happen? I think that's the key thing that I always have at the back of my head. Yeah, Sasi, thank you so much for inspiring me.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Sasi?
Okay, for me, a lot of experiences, I guess. I think it's about decisions and let's talk about you, Manan. Okay, so I remember the time when you became master trainer. Remember? Yeah, in Kelly, and I remember Manan was a fantastic salesperson. Right, so Vanan was I was the old master trainer. I was coaching you to be the next master trainer, and a lot of times during that period, everybody was telling me, "Oh, Vanan is just a salesperson. How is he going to teach?" Right, and I remember asking myself, but at the end of the day, there must be a reason he can sell very well, right? There must be a reason. So to me, everything was about sales. If I was imparting knowledge to a child or to someone else, right, I'm also selling that knowledge because I need them to believe that, that they need to get the knowledge. So during that process, I remember asking myself a few questions, and the time where all the questions were answered was when I sat in for one of Vanan's courses, and I realized he was doing an excellent job. And I remember leaving halfway, not because I was frustrated. I left halfway because I was satisfied that I passed it on to to someone who's going to do an even better job than me, and it's because you wanted it. You wanted to improve. You wanted to get a different aspect. You mastered the sales side of it. You wanted to master the technical side of it, and I think you worked really hard and you did well. Yeah. So that told me was never to judge, and if someone is willing to put their mindset to it, they can actually change and garner enough knowledge. Yeah. So that's one of the experiences I had.
Brought back about 6 years of experience, what we had more than 15 or almost 18.
Yeah.
But I also like to share at this point of our conversation with the New Year resolution. I think it's the difficult times most often, right? It's when the difficult times. If you have mastered the difficult times, the difficult period, the challenges where you have lots of pressure, and it's just like a kettle, right? It's you boil the water, eventually the steam will come out. But if you know how to take it at the right time, I think you will have a very nice warm coffee with a good heat. So I think that is what is life all about. When we are put into a difficult situation or a circumstance where you have to do it, when you want to live, you got to breathe, and you got to be the hardest worker if you want to prove something, or even to your own self. I think these are the challenges that we talked about for the past 1 hour. I'm sure our viewers are listening to this and give your feedback as well. If that something that you can take it back, we will be very happy as well. But life is never a smooth journey. All right, you will face difficult times. You will have challenges, unexpected things dropping on your plate, on your path. But if you have the resilient, where you have the mindset that you can be positive during the negative situation, like I mentioned earlier, I'm mentioning it again, that you are almost 60 to 70% of the battle is won. But if you choose to be the other way around, the forces is way much more faster than the positive forces. Which because we are tuned to it, right? When you're negative, when you're tired, when you words, example, when you use the words, I can't make it, I'm lousy. You are just tuning yourself towards that path. Your hormones, your heartbeat, your mental, your body is listening constantly, and you will act towards what you want to. So be very wiseful what you want to wish for, because wishes do happen with lots of hard work. And that's why we wanted to choose this New Year resolution topic, because there are some who just keep on doing it on a yearly basis, which we probably thought this great discussion will actually help them give some light on their on the New Year resolution. So if it does happen, we are very happy for that. Once again, with my great speakers, Sakti, a ranger who went through hell and crawl out of hell to heaven, where he feels accomplished, because no one will know the pain. It's easy for him to say, but what he went through, I think it's crazy. Where else? Our founder here of Fight Zone, very successful in Singapore. A very new concept of fitness. It's about movement. It's about getting busy. It's about martial art. It's about Muay Thai, and you're enjoying the workout, right? That's what we talked about. When you enjoy the workout, you're feeling it's a new concept, innovation by Sasi, the founder of Fight Zone. Thank you to the both of you all for agreeing in a very short period of time. Probably our guest speaker Sasi probably less than 1 hour. So I thought what. So that, and I think Santi was just yesterday we talked about it. And I said, what, let's get into it. So this is a kind of energy, right? Want to share in the same time what we went through, what we might thought would be very good for others. So thank you once again, guys. Thank you so much. Why don't we all meet up for some good dinner? Because now it's phase 3. Usual, let's go Mutu's curry. I'm not. I'm a big fan.
I haven't been there in a while.
Oh, you never went before, right?
Kopi,
yeah.
Yes.
You haven't go, right?
Sasi or Sakti? No, I've been to curry, but not with you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sakti haven't go yet. Yeah. Okay. So we should go.
All right. Thank you.
So we'll catch up again, yeah?
All right.
Adios, amigo.
All right. Thank you, Sasi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, both of you.
Thank you for all the viewers who join us. Thank you so much. All right, Zakti, thank you so much again for joining us in this great discussion of Kopi events.
Thanks, Manan.
Cheers. We will meet up soon, yeah? All right, viewers, thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to be with you all with a great topic, with, of course, with so many comments that keep on coming in. And thank you for so much. If we did not answer any of that, probably after the session, we will try to answer as much as possible as we can. So, in a big nutshell, we do believe New Year resolution is necessary. It is a must, so that you can actually improve from the goal of yours. But what we also discussed that your goals must be achievable, so that it gives you a very good accomplishment. So when you have smaller goals, you break down your goals. It will be bigger goals, it can be big goals, but in a smaller goals, you get that accomplishment. Like we agreed earlier on, that our body and our mind are full of chemicals and hormones. So you will get that happiness. You will get that blissfulness. You don't feel stressed. I need to get this big goal done, and then you put a lot of hard work and energy into it, and probably you might not even enjoy the process. So I think the enjoying of the process is very important, and that is what Sakti and Sasi also agreed, and I'm sure you will also agree that. So with this great discussion, it's coming to the end, and I thank every one of you all for great participation and also all the comments. I'm very grateful. Thank you for that. I will meet you again for another exciting program at Kopi with Vets. Unfortunately, my coffee is finished, so we will catch up soon. So right now, cheers. I catch you all around. Bye. Adios. Good day.